Welcome back to my channel, all you odd historians. Today we're going to talk about some of the weirdest deaths in history, so let's just get started. Louis III was the King of West Francia from March 1880 until his death in August of 1882. Louis controlled the northern part of West Francia, including the capital of Paris, while his brother Carloman II controlled the southern portion. At the time of his great successes, Louis III was very young, at a mere 16 to 17 years of age. His victories against the Vikings entertained the public and he was loved by most Frankian people. In Neustria, he was widely celebrated and he was the most popular person in the realm. Louis III died on August 5, 1882, around the age of 17. He was jokingly chasing after a girl who was running to her father's house when he hit his head on the top of the beam of a low door and later died. Because Louis III had no children, his brother Carloman II became the sole king of West Francia, and the young king was buried in the royal mausoleum of the Basilica of Saint-Denis. Milon of Croton was a historical figure based around the late 6th century BC. He is mentioned by many classical authors such as Aristotle, Pausanias, and Cicero. Milon was born in a Greek colony of Croton in southern Italy and was most famously known for being an ancient Greek athlete and its 6-time Olympic victor. Ancient sources and legends report that he took great pleasure in showing off his strength. He believed he was so strong that he even dressed up as Hercules when he went into battle against the Tiberites. Legend has it that such feats were his eventual undoing. His final test of strength came when he was traveling the countryside and met a villager trying to split a stump with a hammer and wedges. Milon excitedly asked the man if he could attempt to split the wood with his strength, not using any tools at all. The villager, honored by Milon's offer, went off to fetch food while Milon worked. Milon immediately tried to pull the stump apart by inserting his fingers into the crack where the villager had driven the wedges. As he pulled the stump open, the wedges fell out, trapping Milon's fingers. Without the wedges there to hold the crack open when Milon tired, he could not free his fingers from the stump. There he waited for the villager to return with food. Legend then says that Milon met his end when wolves or a lion took advantage of his predicament and descended upon him. Tiberius was born on November 16, 42 BC, and was the second Roman emperor and the adopted son of Augustus. Apart from a few displays of violence and force, Tiberius' laws and policies were both patient and far-seeing. He did not attempt great new conquests. He did not move armies about or change governors of provinces without reason. He stopped the waste of the imperial treasury, so when he died, he left behind 20 times the wealth he had inherited, and the power of Rome was never more secure. He strengthened the navy, and he also abandoned the practice of providing gladiatorial games. In 27 AD, at the age of 67, Tiberius left Rome to visit the most southern parts of Italy. En route, he paused at the island of Capri. His intention was only to stay for a bit, but he never returned to Rome. The main motivation for Tiberius' move from Rome to Capri was his fear of assassination. It is the remaining decade or so of Tiberius' life that has given the rise to the legend of Tiberius the Monster. Tiberius only had a few living successors with any real claim to the throne. His choice was Gaius Caesar, or otherwise known as Caligula. There are several versions told of his death by historians. Tacitus wrote that the emperor appeared to have stopped breathing, who was at Tiberius' villa, was being congratulated on his succession to the empire. When news arrived that the emperor woke up, those who recognized Caligula as the emperor fled in fear of the emperor's wrath, while Macro, the head of the Praetorian Guard, took advantage of the chaos to have Tiberius smothered with his own bedclothes. The historian Suetonius reports that the emperor had been poisoned by Caligula, starved, and smothered with a pillow. According to Cassius Dio, Caligula, fearing that the emperor would recover, refused Tiberius' request for food, insisting that he needed warmth, not food. Then, assisted by Macro, he smothered the emperor in his bedclothes. Empedocles was a Greek philosopher in the 5th century BC, and a native citizen of Acros, a Greek city in Sicily. Empedocles pioneered the influential 4-part theory of roots: air, water, earth, and fire, along with 2 active principles of love and strife, which influenced later philosophy, medicine, mysticism, cosmology. Empedocles claimed himself to be a divine being who, having been banished from the immortal gods for committing the sin of meat eating, has now achieved the most perfect of human states and will be reborn as an immortal. Diogenes records that the legend of Empedocles died by throwing himself into Mount Etna in Sicily, so that the people would believe his body had vanished and he had turned into an immortal god. The volcano, however, threw back one of his bronze sandals, revealing the deceit.